Healthcare costs has been on the rise for several years. I viewed a great article on Kaiser Education website on March 4th of this year that says that expenditures in the United States on healthcare has surpassed $2.2 trillion in 2007, more than 3 times the $714 billion in 1990, and more than 8 times the $253 billion in 1980. Stemming this growth has become a major priority policy as the government, consumers, and employers increasingly struggle to keep up with healthcare costs. This pie chart here shows that most of healthcare cost is in the hospital care at 31%, physician and clinical services at 21%. You have other professional services at 10%, nursing home care at 8%, administration at 7%. The entire thing totals $2.241 trillion in 2007. Healthcare can be hard to have, especially when most of us live on a budget. Take me, for example. I have no medical insurance because we live on a budget of 1, and I have children. So since they are my main concern, I make sure they have insurance to take care of them in case something happens. With knowing some of the background on healthcare costs, I would like to go over with you some of the reasons why healthcare costs has been on the rise. The amount of money doctors make, the massive expansion on medical insurance, and malpractice. Let's get started with some comments made by Washington Post regarding the American Medical Association. Did you know that American doctors make more than any doctors in the world? According to an article from the Washington Post published on February of 2007, American doctors make more than twice the amount of any doctors anywhere else in the world. The average incomes come to $274,000 for specialists and $173,000 for general practitioners. What we have here is a pretty good circumstantial evidence on the first law of health economics, which holds that if you pay doctors on how many procedures they do and their insured patients decide on how much health care they get, consumption of healthcare services will rise to the amount that doctors need to make more than as much as the lawyers that sue them. What does this mean? This means that if you leave it up to the doctors and the insured patients to decide how much they charge, they will continue to raise the prices to cover their own hides. This brings me to my second point. Now that you know a little bit about how much doctors make, it's no wonder why our insurance is so expensive. Insurance is a big contributor to healthcare costs. I saw an article online from Ludwig von Mises Institute Daily News, which was published on August 22nd of 2006. A few writers believe that the primary reason for rapidly rising healthcare costs is the massive expansion of medical insurance, which foots doctors and hospital bills. They like to use terminology that diverts you from the actual causes. They broaden the concept of insurance to encompass Medicare and Medicaid, which are government agencies that provide medical care for the aged and needy. And then they hint at the insurance as the driving cost factor. In reality, the number of Americans with health care insurance is actually declining. Rising health care and the declining number of employer-sponsored benefits is steadily reducing the number of insured Americans. At the present time, some 47 million Americans are without any coverage. Due to the survey that you took, more than half of you have medical insurance. Almost everybody believes that it's too expensive, but it's a good thing to have in case something happens. Now that you know a little bit about insurance, let's see how malpractice fits in. Malpractice is a big concern for doctors everywhere. According to Time magazine on February 25th of this year, as much as 10 cents of every dollar of your doctor's bill goes to cover the malpractice insurance. There is no ceiling on how much a doctor can be sued for. The cost of rising malpractice rates is being passed along to the patients. Doctors are often fearful of being sued for doing too little, so they often tend to go the opposite way and do too much. Facing the possibility of multi-million-dollar lawsuits, they instinctively play it safe and order extra tests and prescribe extra drugs, even if they believe there's no reason to do so. Doctors are thereby protected down the line from getting sued. But at the cost of overdoing things and being extremely wasteful, this leads to more expensive healthcare costs for everyone. In conclusion, the reason healthcare costs has been on the rise is due to the amount of money that American doctors make, the massive expansion of medical insurance, and malpractice. Imagine if someone you love had to go to the emergency room and you found out that they needed several surgeries to survive, and you don't have any medical insurance. What would you do? Who would you turn to? You never know if something might happen to you or someone you love, so just stay prepared and informed for whatever might come your way.